This is a VL Calais Sport. This is a beyond special car. Now, I have had some true, very special, very clean cars on the channel, but this one is really genuinely something else, something very, very special. This is my first HDT on the channel, and we'll get to what that means later in the video. If you're outside of Australia and you heard of the VL Commodore, you might associate it with the RB30 straight six turbo engine. This car does not have that. This is much more related to Australian motorsport. I've got so much to talk about, I even don't know where to start, but let's start right where I am. These wheels, how striking are they? Bright red. These were optioned factory with this car, 17s. They are very striking. They really set this car apart from the normal VL Calais, but it is not just the wheels, it's the entire body kit. Every one of these Calais Sports is a little bit different. Some have different front bars. This one has the Group A front bar. The body kit of this car is also unique to the HDTs. It has this really cool side skirts that almost go halfway up the guards. They go halfway up the door, and it has some very unique badging. As you can tell, the front end is really different than even a standard VL Calais. For example, the grille, it sort of has this letterbox grille that is, well, synonymous with a lot of HDT stuff. It was very hard to get an exact number of how many of these were actually made, but it seems around the 60 mark, half of which were turbo, half of which were V8s, this one being the V8. Wasn't an absolute powerhouse though, not like any of the Walkinshaws or anything like that. This one makes around 125 kilowatts out of the carburetted 5 litre 304, compared to the turbocharged 150. But again, it's actually quite hard to find information on this car. A lot of the forums are all from 20 odd years ago, so I might be missing something, and if I am, please let me know. Now, some of the VL Calais Sports had a lot of body kit options that this one does not. The Skid Factory actually had one on their channel, and I was actually watching their video last night just to see how I could compare this one and that one. And that one had something called a dunny seat on the bonnet. Now, that was really cool, but not optioned on this car. That one also had some plastic on the A-pillars that this one doesn't have. This one is actually quite tame in terms of HDT gear. It really doesn't have a crazy amount of options, but I think that it looks great as the way it is with the spoiler and the front bar and the body kit up the sides. I think it looks really, really good. Some of them also had exterior plastic Venetians. I believe the one on the Skid Factory did, but this one doesn't have it. One of my favorite pieces of styling and badging back here is this Sport by HDT. This part here and all of these HD parts, man, these would be crazy rare. And this has been one of the best performing cars I've ever had on the channel. Just before I started recording this, I put some photos up on this, and I think it was at like 400 likes within the first 5 or 10 minutes. And as interesting as this car is, and it is very, very interesting, the story behind this car is even more interesting. Now, my understanding is that HDT, the Holden dealer team, working with Peter Brock, had started to have some arguments, and their relationship with Holden had started to fray a little bit. And this car and some of the other VL HDTs really were the last straw between Peter Brock and Holden. And one of the things in the engine bay, which I'll show you in a second, has something to do with that. But that's why this is so interesting. It's really the last genuine HDT product that was ever made, and it was killed in the middle of its production, and the very last few were never really officially by Holden. So that means that these are crazy valuable, crazy rare, and to see one in person and then be allowed to drive it is really crazy, guys. Like, this is a dream car for a lot of people, which if you're in Australia is probably obvious, but if you're outside of the country, it might not be as clear. But this is a proper a piece of Australian motoring history. It really is. It is phenomenal how cool this thing is. And this car has been restored. It has been owned by the same bloke for over 20 years, and he has very lovingly taken care of it. Like, it is very well cared for, looked after. It's an absolute darling, and you can just tell. Now here we have a carburetted 304, at the time making 125 kilowatts, 25 less than the turbo. However, Aussies love V8s, so these sold still very well, even though they didn't have as much kilowatts. Now, this motor has been out, it has had a refresh, and a lot of the stuff I'm a massive fan of. All of the Peter Brock stickers, all of the Peter Brock gear. I really do love all of the stuff here, especially the HDT build plate up on the firewall there. This is so cool, guys. It's a really special experience. You may also notice that it's got this HDT airbox. It goes all the way down past the power steering pump and along the chassis rail out to the front of the car. That is pretty cool. So earlier we talked about the polarizer, the Peter Brock polarizer. Now what is that? That is a very fair question. It is a resin block with a bunch of magnets inside attached to the body. Now Holden at the time, and admittedly understandably so, was a little bit confused on what the purpose of this was, and it was one of the things that sort of started to strain the relationship between Peter Brock and Holden, and this car has it. Now this little resin block is extremely rare, obviously only on these cars. They were in different spots around the car, sometimes they're up on the parcel shelf, but this one is right there. So Peter's aim for the polarizer was to enhance the car's performance by aligning molecules with the help of that box of magnets and crystals. Did that work? Well, that's still up for debate. Another thing that made this car special is they all have the factory long-range tanks, or drop tanks, whatever you want to call them. And they all had sunroofs, which even back then is pretty rare. How often do you see a sunroof in a VL from dealer or factory? And having a look inside, there are a few little things in here that really set it apart from a normal VL. But the highlight is this Momo steering wheel. It feels fantastic. It's very tight. It's in excellent condition, and this steering wheel alone is worth more than probably half my cars. And if we have a look else out in the interior, the only other hint that this is something special is is just above the radio surround. You can see a little sign that says HDT Calais Sport, and it's a great colour. It's a really cool combination of car, this. Because it's Calais, it's got everything that you'd want from a Calais. It has cruise control and fog lights and everything else. Also, all of the Calais Sports had a sunroof. This one obviously is no exception. It is a very special, very expensive car. Now, one of these today is going for almost the price of a house. This particular example has 133,000 Ks, and because it is a HDT in here, guys, this car has clearly been looked after from day dot. It is very tidy in here. One thing that is fantastic about this car in particular is the amount of paperwork that is with this car. Guys, this is not even, it's not even half. There is every possible receipt, brochure, dyno run. Honestly, it would take me 15-20 minutes just to go through this with you guys, but one of the highlights is definitely this letter from HDT signing it off, and it does look, now I could be wrong, there is a Peter Brock signature here, and it does look like it's in pen rather than ink, so that would be pretty damn cool, guys. Again, I'm not 100% sure if that's true. I would have to ask the owner, but guys, the amount of stuff here is phenomenal. And if you're buying one of these cars, this is what you want. Now, this car has had a restoration, but nothing insane. Mostly paint and panel, which is, you know, quite normal for a car of this age. But any of the HDT stuff like this is absolute hen's teeth. It is so hard to find. All right, guys, it is time to take it for a spin. Now, I don't want to sound down on it. It's not quite as exciting to drive as you might expect, but it drives beautifully. It's much more of a cruiser. It drives very similar to any other VB to VL 5 litre, if you're lucky enough to have driven one of those. So that's really what it drives like. Yeah, I'm not too sure what else to say. It sounds fantastic, but it's not super fast. The really interesting thing about this car though is not really driving it, it's just the fact that it exists at all. And that is hopefully what I've gotten across with the earlier parts of this video. It is a fascinating piece of Australian motoring history and where things were in the 80s. And it is an absolute privilege to not only see one of these in person, not only to sit in it, but to actually be trusted and drive this car is phenomenal, guys. I knew that it wouldn't be fast, and I wasn't expecting it to be, really. But saying that, it drives great, especially for a car that's got so much age on it. very cool car, guys. Great experience. All of that stuff to do with Peter Brock, you know, it might have been sad that he left and all of this other whatever, but the result was a really cool, unique car. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have really enjoyed my time with this car. It is very, very special. We've gotten a lot of looks in the car park here at Hastings filming this. It's a really special car, a real piece of Australian history. And if you have anything like this that you would like on the channel, I do have a few more Brocks lined up, which I'm pretty excited to do. But if you guys have anything like this that you would like on the channel, then please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, get in touch. And I love doing all of these. But if you don't have anything Peter Brock, I'm still interested. If this was a normal VL, I'd still be out here. So it doesn't have to be a Brock like this, but it is really cool to experience, to see, and to also see how much attention this car is getting. So thank you guys for watching. I really, really do appreciate it.